Okay, so today is Friday, October 7th, 2016. Black Lives Matter is not a peaceful organization that engages in peaceful protests like President Obama, Hillary Clinton, and the mainstream media would have you believe. What they are is, in fact, a terrorist organization. The White House, the DOJ, the FBI, and criminal Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton need to start calling it and addressing it as such. Their ideological inspiration comes from a woman who is a convicted cop killer and who's on the FBI's most wanted list. They use fear, violence, and intimidation to get their point across while looting stores and businesses, while burning down stores and businesses, and destroying public buses and private vehicles. They attack white people simply for being white. Even when those white people are there in support of their noble cause. They promote the killing of innocent police. They promote the killing of innocent white people. They completely ignore the facts while expressing this false narrative that there's some sort of racially motivated vendetta being perpetrated against blacks by police all across the country. That police are somehow out looking for innocent African Americans to gun down and murder in cold blood for no apparent reason. As I said, this is completely untrue. According to the Washington Post, nearly twice as many whites were killed by police last year than blacks. 50% were white, while just 26% were black. And the majority were armed or threatening police in some way, shape, or form. Realistically, blacks are more likely to kill cops than to be killed by cops, according to FBI data, which found that 40% of cop killers are black, and that police are 18 and a half times more likely to be killed by an African American than an unarmed black person is of being killed by a cop. If black lives really mattered, they'd be focusing on the real violence plaguing the black community, which is the overwhelming number of black-on-black crime. 90% of all black victims are killed by other blacks. Only a fraction of the remainder are killed legally in self-defense by police. So, while Black Lives Matter terrorists riot and assault people in defense of adults who either assault police or refuse to drop their weapons, they forget about the outstanding number of innocent people and oftentimes children, innocent children, that are killed in the midst of black-on-black violence. Even with all these facts, the anti-police rhetoric of Black Lives Matter and their left-wing sympathizers has continued and it's increased. Not only have they called for the killing of police during their marches and during their riots, but they've also called for the killing of police online, which spreads this message of hate even farther and wider. And because of this rhetoric, the number of murders has increased 17% due to cops being reluctant to go into predominantly black neighborhoods because they don't want to be labeled as a racist simply for doing their job. And they don't want to become the next victim of this anti-police mindset. The number of police killed in fatal shootings has more than doubled this year. So, the actual definition of terrorism is the use of violence and threats to intimidate or coerce, especially for political purposes. The state of fear and submission produced by terrorism or terrorization, and a terroristic method of governing or resisting a government. Therefore, by the very definition, Black Lives Matter are terrorists. They're a terrorist organization. And I'm not even going to get into the fact that their funding comes straight from POS, scumbag, Nazi collaborator like George Soros. I'll get into that in another video. Anyways, so even though by definition Black Lives Matter is in fact a terrorist organization, they are in fact terrorists, the White House refuses to denounce them as such. The best way to ensure the unification of our country and to start to reverse the epidemic that is Black Lives Matter, we need to secure Donald Trump as the 45th President of the United States.